All right, we are live. I will go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the City Council for March 3rd, 2025. I will be leading invocation and pledge allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to come together to do the people's business. Lord, we ask for your wisdom and guidance as we seek to serve the residents of Maumelle here. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that brings us to approval of the minutes. Y'all received a copy of the minutes from the 24th. Open the floor for discussion. I entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion, second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. I don't have any public comment cards, so we'll move on to department report. Mike Hogan, Director of Public Works, Street Sanitation, etc. Come on down.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Mike Hogan, 600 Cogdale Drive, Public Works. I'd like to talk about last Friday. Man, that was a great event for the Gateway Park. Everybody showed up, and it's good to see everybody. So, turned out well. Start out with kind of talking about the snow events. I know Mr. John Knight, I think he lives on Breckenridge, come up here and had some concerns and questions. I talked to him, had about a 2-hour meeting, and kind of showed him our system and our equipment, and had a very good conversation with him. I think he reached out to you, Councilmember Booker, and yeah, so it was a good conversation, and thought it went well, and this last snow event went fairly well also, so I'll take those when we can get them. We've been cleaning equipment, restocking on sand, salt, and calcium, and just trying to hopefully not get ready for another one this year. Hopefully springtime's coming. A few things that we've got accomplished is got about 3,000 feet of walk path done from last year's budget at Lake Willowstein. We plan to do some more out of this year's budget to extend on from that, and hopefully have a good extension that somewhat covers most of that area. I know we got a lot of complaints on that. With that being said, I know we got some jobs that are coming up that kind of looking forward to getting done. We got some street striping on some overlays that were done last year, as well as the Arnold Palmer that Mayor Norris was wanting to get done. I think this is going to be a nice addition and look good, so hopefully weather allowing, you know, within the next month or so, hopefully they can get that done. And then Shauna Lane, the big drainage issue that we've been dealing with for some time. Just talked to Redstone Construction today. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks to a month, we'll hopefully get kicked off on that, weather allowing. Also another Redstone job, the roundabout. I think they laid some asphalt yesterday, just a sub base, so get some of those islands filled in, and I'm just glad nobody had any accidents during that snow, because it was pinched off pretty tight on the boulevard, or not the boulevard, but Country Club Parkway. Another couple of jobs that are coming up, hoping to get done, are some of the street lights that we have not been able to fix in-house. We've been trying to do everything we can to do it as cheap as we can, but we're going to have to contract this out to Inline. White Oak Crossing, I think there's 5 or 6 lights that the heads of them are going to have to be changed out, and then The ones that we've been getting the most complaints on are South Odom. So, we have done everything we can to try and get that done and had to get them to come out. They can't pinpoint the issue or the problem, so they're gonna have to put a whole new line in. This is direct bury wire from years and years ago. So whenever they put this leg in, this will be in conduit. Hopefully we won't have trouble with it for years to come. This is an area that we've had lots of trouble with due to water standing in the electrical boxes, shorting them out, kicking the breakers, and hopefully we'll get some of this cleaned up and taken care of. So we could not pin it on a contractor that bored into it. We don't have any permits or nobody was boring in the area. Inline Construction just said it's just an old failed line that's direct bury. So, but anyhow, those are a few things that we got going on. We had an issue with the street light tonight at Millwood. Thought it was going to be a worse issue than what it turned out to be. They got it taken care of fairly quick. And I don't have a whole lot else unless anybody's got some questions. That's we're just a bit short-staffed still, and hired a few people and hope to hire some more and keep things rolling.
Thank you, sir. Were there any questions or comments? Thank you. Hang on a second. Councilmember Shin?
Where do we stand on getting some work done on Carnahan?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna mention that. So, Carnahan is in this year's, plan to do something with that and trying to get it laid from Murphy Drive all the way to Lewis Nelson. And I know Lewis Nelson is the trucks are making the asphalt slide again. And Mayor Norris, probably talk about Champs Boulevard. I was just over there looking at that. There's some drainage issues we think we can fix in-house and hopefully take care of it. But when I went over there and looked at it, I got with Mayor Norris, and yeah, this last snow event has got it chopped up pretty good. So they put some asphalt in it last week. And they knew that it wouldn't hold, but it was, some of the potholes were deep enough that they had to do something temporarily. So, hopefully we can get on that and try to.
Thank you, sir.
I can add, so I was gonna talk about this in mayor's comments, but figured it would come up here. And it's a good time since we have, Mike is here with us. The, Carnahan, it was amusing. You asked that question last Monday, Councilmember Shin. I got an email, we got an email from the engineer earlier in Monday showing Carnahan as the top project. There is one problem, excuse me, and that we did not tell the engineer that the funding went from 800,000 for overlays last year back down to the normal 400,000. It's looking like the cost of the Carnahan repairs are gonna come in just shy of 600,000. So I was going to ask the council if there was any desire to pass a budget resolution or to come forward with a budget resolution for that additional 200,000. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to do 2/3 of the road. Just when you look at the mobilization fees, it's a much better bang for the buck to knock it out in a single year. I was hoping to have the numbers, and I do, but they're on my desk. I think the street fund balance last go around that was presented at the last council meeting was somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.4, 2.5 million, I believe, is in that fund. So if we want to knock out Carnahan this year, we need more money. So if that's something that y'all want to do, then we can proceed with getting the actual costs from the contractor and then running a budget resolution. But that's about a 50% increase over our average years. Y'all may recall last year we doubled it, but we knew it was just going to be a one-year blip and then back down. So now's a good time to ask questions or share your thoughts on that, and provide some guidance. Councilmember Gardner.
Thank you, Mayor. After Councilmember Shin mentioned that, I went out through this last week, because it's not on my regular path, and it is in rough shape, and it has been for a while. I know they've been filling potholes and things, but I guess my question would be, two things. Is an overlay going to help the road be better, or are there other underlying issues that would also need to be corrected? Because it seems like the road is very waffly, is that the word for it? I know a lot of that's due to filling in potholes, but it seems like it's very uneven. And so is it more than an overlay where we're just gonna be filling it in only for it to fail in the future? So I guess that's kind of my first question.
So, Carnahan is a lot like Champs Boulevard. We've been dealing with the same issues on that. You know, so there are things that we can do to go in and undercut concrete bridge some of the areas with asphalt on top of it before the overlay takes place. Some of the areas are probably bad enough that that needs to be done before, you know, an overlay comes in, because it's dipped out pretty good. Champs has held up very well since they've been open, and you know, we did some work, some drainage work in that cul-de-sac. So, you know, it's a lot of heavy traffic, a lot of trucks coming in and out, and the turning and the braking plays havoc on the asphalt for sure.
So we have a couple different issues. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, Mike. Most of Carnahan, we think we just do a mill, so you grind down the top layer and then relay it, and that will work for, we think, a bulk of it. There's a few parts that kind of are, it's impacting more than just the asphalt. It's the base or sub-base. I never remembered the difference. Right. And those areas, we would patchwork with concrete underneath. And so that's that. And to your point, it has worked very well on Champs. Champs has the section that's east of the railroad spur that was basically completely failing, and that we were going in and putting concrete sub-bases in those parts that were failing. So the east side of Champs is good. We're actually looking at having to do something similar on the west side of Champs, primarily where the trucks are entering and exiting Kimberly Clark there. But for the bulk of Carnahan, we think a mill and overlay resolves it, and then just patchwork, which is, that's a fairly common process that they do. Maybe not to this magnitude. When we're having overlays, they often go in and do some patchwork areas that they think need extra stabilization.
And then our budget for street overlays for this year, you said is 400,000.
Correct.
That's for the entire city.
Yes.
And this project, we're looking at 600,000. So if we increase it by 200, that's just one street, and every other street in the city gets nothing. Is that what you're?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So interestingly, when we look back at the 5-year plan as it was put in with those roads, we deviated from that in that we originally were planning for overlays and the scrub sealing or cape sealing in every year. We found that cape sealing is not economical to do at about $100,000 a year. Just doesn't get the contractors that we need to do much of anything. So we've alternated years or kind of combine it. But on the 5-year plan, interestingly enough, the Champs Boulevard reconstruction was estimated at that time to cost $300,000. So the same project a few years later is literally estimated at double the price. And so effectively, that also means that $400,000 we were appropriating prior is doing half of what it used to, and we almost need $800,000 to maintain the level of 400, at least while all this stuff is as expensive as it is.
Yeah.
And McClellan, the updated version was all asphalt roads, and he was supposed to look into the Cape Seal or the scrub seal. These companies are not in Arkansas. They come from up north most of the time, and they'll do you know, the county, they'll do like a state bid thing. We were lucky enough to do piggyback off the state bid when they come in and did some of our roads, and that just wasn't available to my knowledge at this time.
What's your opinion on Audubon, the Cape Seal, that was Cape Sealing, right? Or
Yeah,
what-
I
Scrub-
can't remember, I'll have to.
Where they
look.
dropped the pea
Yeah,
gravel and
yeah.
everybody was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, so-
What's your opinion on that, now that we've got some time under our belt?
You know, I think any kind of treatment, any kind of sealing you do definitely preserves preserves the road for a longer term. My biggest concerns with what they were doing is, you know, they put down their material, their oils, and then they come in and they spread this gravel out on it. And, about 40% of that gets contaminated and brought back to our shop, which they sweep it up to get all the little fines and the gravels from hitting people's cars and stuff. And once it's swept up, it's been there for 2 weeks, they sweep it, clean it, and it's just contaminated material. We use it, but, you know, once it gets dirt and everything else in, that was my only downfall of it is it works good for the roads, but, you know, there's material that's wasted, with those types of sealers, in my opinion.
It just seemed like the road was it's a little rough already, so, and I'm sure
It's got a texture to it, for
yeah,
sure.
well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was just another point, but yeah, I just mainly wanted to say, if we're gonna commit to doing Champs, which I think not Champs, Carnahan, that's our whole budget for the year.
Yeah.
And I agree with what the mayor was saying. I think we've been kind of stuck on that 400,000 for a number of years, and things don't cost the same as they used to. So, all right.
So I am still looking for guidance as to whether it would be, like a decent idea to run a budget resolution and come back and ask for 200,000 more for overlays for this year. The reason that's a little bit important is I can just draft the resolution, come in, but I wanna say the estimate had it at 595,000. If I come back in with a budget resolution for 200,000, inevitably the contractor's gonna come back and say, well, the engineer, that was their price, here's what it is for us, and then I'll be coming back a second time. So I'd prefer to get the actual price, quoted out, and then get the resolution. But I have found that it's very difficult to get quotes in, I guess because everyone just has so much work that you have to beg people to sell you stuff sometimes. Okay. I guess I'll wing it. The Councilmember Gardner.
Sorry, I turned it off because you were moving on. No, I would say, and I would like to hear what my peers say, but I think it would be appropriate to have a price before we ran a budget resolution. And it also gives us time to think about the state of our street fund. You said we have 2.5 million in there. Is that right?
That is, I have the number on my desk. It was mid-twos.
Mid-twos, and those are uncommitted.
Those are the unassigned, uncommitted.
Available to be used.
Available to be
Okay.
used funds.
And so then we have to also think, what else is coming up that we may need to use those funds for? I know we've been sitting on a pretty hefty balance in there, but we're starting to use it. You know, we've got Club Manor. Now, has Club Manor already been moved out?
Pardon me?
Have the Club Manor funds
That's what I was
been
thinking of
moved
while you were
out?
asking that question. The system assigns on PO, and I don't think we have a PO, so the city's portion of that project, I don't believe is included in that, or is included in that mid-two number. I can get those, numbers and present to y'all.
I think it'd be just good to know what we're dealing with before we, I think keep saying Champs, Carnahan, I think it needs to be done, but I think we also need to just, 2.5 million doesn't go very far when we've got some very large projects coming up. So, I think we just need to look at the numbers and see how everything stands.
That'll work. Councilmember Tierney?
Yes, I agree with Councilmember Gardner that, and yourself there, I think it'd be better just to go ahead, get an estimate, and just do one resolution.
Okay, and I guess what I'm saying is the alternative would be just not fixing Carnahan at this point and moving on to the other roads that are of equal tier. The issue with Carnahan is that it's in worse shape than some roads, and I'm a little bit afraid that if it continues to get worse, if y'all remember, we did the street grading, it'll fall another notch from, I don't know, from a C road to a D road, or maybe it already is, I don't know, along those lines. Okay, I think I have, some direction to go from that, thank you. With that, Planning Commission report will be Councilmember Shin.
I think they had quite a few things that'll be coming to us probably in 2 weeks. There's a couple of items related to the U-Store facility, the old Kroger location, as most of us refer to it as, an expansion that they're working on, and the fact that we've rezoned the land around it. And so there will be some discussion on conditional use. We've got a couple of extensions on some things that we've already approved, asking for time changes related to Stony Mountain and to the Mid-South Boring Site plan. Entergy is asking for a variance for overhead lines in an area in the industrial park that is currently not zoned to permit that. And then another proposal related to the Newton Creek commercial area at I-40 and White Oak Crossing. And that'll be things that we'll be seeing soon.
Thank you, sir. The next item of business is the procedural motion. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to have all ordinances and resolutions read by title only.
So moved.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. We have no unfinished business. That brings us to new business. First item of new business is Resolution 2025-06, approving the Metro Little Rock Alliance contract. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas. A resolution to be entitled Resolution Number 2025-06. A resolution to authorize the mayor to execute an economic development services contract with the Metro Little Rock Alliance and for other purposes.
All right, this is our annual contract with MLRA. We do have Jack, if you want to come on down, with Metro Little Rock Alliance to just tell us a little bit about what y'all been doing.
Happy to do it, Mayor. Great to be with you all this evening. Great to be with the new members of the council that I look forward to getting to know. So, as a reminder, the Metro Little Rock Alliance is a cooperative marketing organization that is made up of cities and counties and chambers from across Central Arkansas. That's about 20 years old now, with the thought being that as a region, we collectively have a whole lot more to market than any one of our individual communities does. So there are different things that we do that I'll get into, but we work together to be able to take the product that is the Metro Little Rock region to market to attract investment and jobs and that type of thing. So what I'll do, Mayor, is briefly give an update on 2024 initiatives and also touch on a few things that we'll be doing this year in 2025 and the services that are provided to the city of Maumelle. So first, I always like to start with results. First, from a results perspective, our team closed 7 projects in 2024, representing 1,005 new jobs for Central Arkansas, which resulted in $56 million in new payroll and $248 million in new capital investment for the region. In terms of economic development marketing in 2024, Maumelle was represented at 14 industry trade shows and site location consultant conferences. We'll continue that marketing schedule that includes representation at 15 different trade shows and site consultant events in 2025. Our first event of the year was the ICSC retail trade show, where Courtney Dunn did a phenomenal job leading the effort for our region. She took on a big responsibility of manning the whole booth and putting the whole thing together and setting up meetings, and she did a great job engaging with developers and brokers to be able to market our region and of course Maumelle for retail opportunities. I do think that Sydney prepared a video to be shown. I haven't seen the video, so I don't know what's about to be shown, but I do think there is a video that showcases some of the work that Courtney did on this trade show. So that's just a glimpse at one of the many trade shows that we participate in and market the region. I did see a sign there for Cava. I may have to check back with Courtney to see if we had a meeting with them to see, that's a good restaurant. But anywho, one thing to touch on from a customized data and reporting standpoint, just as a reminder, Maumelle has access to our MZ Lightcast research tools, which provide partners with the ability to answer some pretty sophisticated labor analytics questions when prospects ask. We also have a cooperative subscription to Implan to be able to better communicate the economic impact that some of these companies have when they do come into the market from a tax revenue standpoint. And that type of thing, economic development training, we host several different events throughout the course of the year with no-cost economic development training for partners. We conducted an economic development sales training with a group last year to equip partners with how to host prospects, how to collectively sell the region, how to put together good site visits, that type of thing. We also hosted a retail attraction training for partners. In terms of participation in cooperative marketing events, each year we go out and target different markets, usually 2 or 3 markets a year, to be able to set up meetings with site location consultants, developers, brokers, that type of thing. In 2024, we visited Chicago. We had 5 meetings in Chicago, and then visited New York City and had 6 meetings in New York. In 2024, we'll do that again, likely in Dallas and potentially in Atlanta this summer and fall. From a project standpoint, again, as a reminder, regardless of lead source, regardless of how the prospect comes to us, our team at the Chamber shares all market inquiries with all MLRA partners, unless explicitly directed by the company that they want to look on a specific piece of real estate. But anytime there's a prospect that comes to us, we share that with all of our MLRA partners. In 2024, we shared 27 project opportunities that represented 5,210 new jobs. One thing to note too on prospect liaison services, so prospective companies and site location consultants desire to have a consistent point of contact as they come into the market. You all know this, but MLRA partners have the ability to come alongside our team in a support role, or take a lead role, or we take a support role and help sell the region collectively at all the assets that we know exist across the region. So we're currently working 2 projects in Maumelle right now, one through Cushman & Wakefield's National Site Selection Practice, and one with a Fortune 50 company that's exploring sites for a distribution center. To that end, MLRA partners have access to assistance that includes the planning and execution of successful site visits when companies do come to town. We had a brief visit from a Fortune 50 group that came to town, came to Maumelle while Courtney was at ICSC. Deb stepped in to represent the city. I got to say, Mayor, she did a pretty good job. So I don't know if you can work on new business cards for her or anything like that, but she played a really good economic developer. And then the last thing I'll mention is what I started with, and that's just the regional nature of our work. So in 2024, it's worth noting that the Little Rock MSA, our region, reached a record employment, getting as high as 374,000 people working in the MSA, which is up 12,000 people from the year before. So clearly, it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it just in the sense that the regional nature of these jobs impacts Maumelle from a real estate standpoint, from a tax revenue standpoint, where people shop, where people live, where people choose to do business, and that type of thing, where the tax revenues go to support the Pulaski County School District, and that type of deal. So really look forward to the chance to again work with Maumelle, and happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Great. Are there any questions for Jack? Thank you, sir. Are there any, I'll open the floor for discussion on Resolution 2025-06.
Make a motion that we pass.
I've got a motion second to approve Resolution 2025-06. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you for coming out. Next up is, a fun one, the Planning Commission appointment. I have 5 applicants here. Let me just sound the room. David Fine. Did I pronounce that wrong?
You did.
Yeah. You notice I don't ask if I pronounce it right anymore. I just assume I did. Okay, Greg Biggs here, Mary Wennick, Hannah Allen, Desi Hunter, Awesome, okay. So we have 4 folks here. The way this works is we'll have each of you come up, introduce yourself to the city council, and the council's free to ask any questions or comments afterward. Due to the nature of the fact that we often hear the same questions, it's a little unfair for the person that goes last to have the most time to think about it. So while we can't kick anyone out of the room under FOIA, we do respectfully request that those other than David Finney, if you wouldn't mind leaving the room, and Scott will direct you to the map room for questions. In the meantime, David, come on down. David, council's received a copy of your resume and the stuff you submitted to the city clerk treasurer, but if you want to just introduce yourself to the council and let them know whatever it is you think they should know.
Well, thank you for having me. David Finney. I'm a 4-year resident of Maumelle. My parents are, I guess, been here for 20, 25 years. Lived here 4 years. Love the planned aspect of the community, and have sought a desire to kind of give back. And I think my background kind of fit the, when I saw the opportunity pop up. Got about a 25-year background in commercial construction, but a lot of that was geared towards development, planning, and design as well. So got a background in that.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions? Councilmember Gardner?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Finney, have you been able to attend any planning commission meetings over the
I have
course-
not.
You have
No,
not?
sir.
Okay. I would just I'm gonna ask these same questions to each of them, to everyone, but what would you view the role of the planning commission to be here in Maumelle? And then second part of that, how would you view your role on the planning commission to be going forward?
I think, from a planning standpoint, obviously any good community is as good as it's planned out and thought through. I've been and developed and constructed a lot of projects across the country in places that were either very well thought through and some were very well not thought through. And, I built apartment complexes, and it was amazing how successful the apartment complexes were when the planning and the streets and the sidewalks and the connectivity of all of those just lend itself to the attractiveness of the apartment complex. If the apartment complex had retail, you couldn't activate the retail without easy places to park for people wanting to go to that retail, sidewalks that allowed you to walk to those places. So I've got a very good understanding of what it takes to, a vision for what proper planning takes from. I also lived for about 20 years in the Woodlands, Texas. If nobody's ever heard of that, it's a very thoughtfully master planned community, tremendous amenities, tremendous accessibility to everything, tremendous, engagement of outdoors and pathways to every neighborhood and playgrounds in every neighborhood. And, just really enjoyed what that brought to the community and the people that chose to live in that community.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Any additional questions, comments? Sir, you are welcome to have a seat. You don't have to leave the room. You'd already know what the questions are going to be, but it looks like that's it. Any final words?
No, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Greg Biggs? Mr. Biggs, you're up. The council's seen a copy of your submittal here, but if you just want to introduce yourself to the council and let them know whatever you think they ought to know.
Hello, I'm Greg Biggs. My company is Twin City Excavating, and we started business in 1984. And done a lot of work from commercial to residential, and have enjoyed working in Maumelle. Made a little bit of money, and looking forward to the new horizon, the golden age.
Thank you, sir. Were there any questions or comments? Councilmember Gardner?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Biggs, I've just been asking these of each of the applicants, so just kind of to give an idea of what your thoughts are on the planning commission. Have you been to any of the meetings that the planning commission holds?
No, sir.
Okay.
When this position came up, I wanted to, you know, run for it because, I've been in Maumelle since it was a two-lane road and come to know a lot of the people, good people, and watch Maumelle grow. And, a lot of the things that Maumelle does is like, you know, I could offer insight to the commission as to the people's pulse, because we're out in there every day, and I can tell you what, you know, people think about, you know, so many projects and stuff.
Okay.
And, I have a background in, you know, excavation, so, when it comes to projects that's gonna do anywhere around here, I can kinda tell you what the ground is, and, you know, what's gonna be expensive and what's not.
Okay. What do you view the role of the planning commission to be for our city? What do you think the job of the planning commission is to do for the city?
I can't hear you.
What do you think the role of the planning commission is for the city?
I guess to me, it's an insight of what's coming into Maumelle or proposed to come in.
Okay.
And, you know, you can selectively see if that's something good for the community. And obviously, you look for tax revenue, so you want to get the best of the best to come in here, and I totally agree with that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Was there anything, any final words? Unfortunately, it's gonna take a second for YouTube to figure out that I'm no longer live. Before I can tell it to go live again. There's a chance we may be live anyways, which is why I raised my hand. There we go. I see myself raising my hand. I guess the recording stopped, that the stream went. Okay. I'll figure that one out later. Councilmember Williams, did you have a question?
Well, I did. Mr. Biggs. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just, so reading your resume, there was something that caught my attention, and it's probably doesn't have anything to do with the planning commission, but I'd like for you to explain. This was a particular interest of mine as well. Enjoys helping and giving back to the community, helps men that need work and an opportunity to get back on their feet, provides meals, clothing, and nightly shelter. How do you do that?
You know, my hearing is so bad, I cannot hardly hear what you're saying.
So your interest about providing meals and shelter for, I guess, how do you do that?
Well, you know, in the past, if you go down to Pulaski County Jail, you'll see one of my business cards down there. And so when people get out of jail and they're looking for a job, they give me a call.
Okay.
And we try to help people get back on their feet because, you know, everybody gets behind for some reason or another, and, you know, bad luck just follows some people, but they can pull themselves out if they want to. And so you know, I've been in business since 1984, and I've seen people get out of jail and come to work for me and go from, you know, being incarcerated to going to work for Wellspun, making $30 an hour. And so we try to help them, you know, put a dream in their heart and help them get to it. And then I, you know, help them, push them, and encourage them the best I can. So we just like to give back to people.
Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Next up will be Mary Winnick. Mary, you're the next contestant. Come on down. Council received a copy of your resume in the council packet, but if you want to reintroduce yourself to them and let them know whatever you want them to know.
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor Norris and council members. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be interviewed by you for this open position in the Planning Commission. So I've been on the committee for the past 3 years, working diligently with the team. I think we have a great partnership established with those on the Planning Commission. I think there's a good balance of skill sets there. We're young in our, I want to say, maturity on that committee. I believe I'm the second with the most seniority now, besides the chair. So I did serve as vice chair for 1 year. I'm currently secretary now. We've done a lot. I think we've grown in our communication practices. I think we did some great work to improve upon that, knowing there were opportunities to have transparent communication with residents when there's zoning changes or development. We found some gaps in that, so we did a lot of work there. You recently approved the drainage changes on the storm flow. We worked on that with Scott, put a lot of thought, I want to say thought into that. So it's been good. I've enjoyed the time on there. I've enjoyed working with all of you as well to do our diligence so that you can make good decisions, so that we've done our homework before it comes here to be viewed by you and you ask your questions. So what questions do you have of me?
Good point.
I can keep talking.
Councilmember Gardner?
It wouldn't be fair to switch questions. So Ms. Winnick, I've been asking the same questions, and I'm going to assume that you have been attending Planning Commission meetings regularly.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's
Yes,
a yes.
sir.
Okay. What do you view the role of the Planning Commission to be in the city? You came on as a resident.
Mm-hmm.
What do you view the role to be for the city as a planning commissioner?
To me, it's the building blocks of what we do in the developmental process for the city in growing, bringing in new growth, making sure, again, our codes are up to date. Do we have good practice, best practice? Mindfulness, making sure we are thinking for the best of our community, for our residents. So I think that's my role as a resident, to be mindful, make sure when I make an informed decision, right, that I have all the facts in front of me so that we can make good, sound judgment for the Planning Commission. So it is our future. It is, looking forward and improving upon where we are now. Who are we going to be in 5 years?
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything else you want? Last words, final words? No? Okay. Yeah.
Just thank you. And again, if I'm not selected, I've enjoyed my 3 years here working in this role. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up will be Desi Hunter. Hannah Allen applied but wasn't here. The resume is in the council packet. Just a reminder, attendance isn't mandatory to be considered or appointed. Mr. Hunter, come on down. You're the next contestant. The council's received a copy of your resume that you submitted to the city clerk treasurer. You want to introduce yourself and let them know whatever you think they need to know.
Hello, Mayor, council members. My name is Desi Hunter. I'm a 21-year resident of Maumelle. I've been with Entergy for 25 years. A wife, 2 kids. Both of my kids were students through Maumelle High School, and they're 26 and 27 now.
Thank you, sir. I'll open the floor for questions. Councilmember Gardner.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hunter, thanks for applying, and I should have mentioned this to the other candidates. It's exciting when we have 5 applicants for these positions. We have sat up here and had 1 applicant for positions before, and so it's actually, it's encouraging to see so many residents want to be involved. I've been asking these same questions to each of the candidates just to kind of get a feel for what your thoughts are on the planning commission. Have you been able to attend any planning commission meetings in the city here?
I have not.
Okay. What do you view the role of the planning commission to be for the city? And then as a resident, how would you see yourself being a part of that commission? What do you see your role being?
Okay, so what interests me in my role would be is, I do want growth for Maumelle, but I'm adamant about the correct growth. There's good growth and there's bad growth. So I want to direct us in the right growth for Maumelle. So I see my role in being a voice for that, being the sounding ear for what we do in Maumelle, how we grow Maumelle, and how we develop it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Did you have anything else, any final words for the council?
I don't. I appreciate y'all's time and consideration. Again, I'm a longtime Maumelle resident. I love the city. And I'll always be a Maumelle resident. So I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, council members, you should have a ballot at your, in front of you. Go ahead and indicate who you are voting for, and make sure that you print your name legibly. Those do remain a matter of public record. Just for everyone's knowledge, we need 5 folks to vote for 1 person, so sometimes this takes a couple rounds of votes. But with that, I was going to entertain y'all by saying what Councilmember Gardner said, and how awesome it is to see folks turn out for this position. It's a very high-paying position of $0 a year, and it can be, there's some grueling moments to it, and it's a very intricate role. So thank you to each and every one of you for applying. Most of you will not be appointed. I'd still encourage all of you to return and apply again. There's some stories of folks who have applied multiple times over, I'm not going to name names, and have been appointed. There's been council members in the past who were not appointed the first time to the Planning Commission. We thankfully have a difficult choice this time, with it seeming everyone very well qualified for the position. So thank you again for applying. And I think I've spoken long enough, but we will see. Okay, we have, we have 1 candidate that received 4 votes and 1 that received 3 votes, and then 1 person got 1 vote. What I'd like to do is go ahead with the council's permission and take the 2 highest folks and just submit just those 2 names to the council to vote on. And those are Mary Wennick and Desi Hunter. So you should have an extra ballot piece there if you wouldn't mind voting for one of those 2 folks. How many ballots did you pass out? Just 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have more. I have enough for 3 rounds, but we can print them off however you guys want to do it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Did everybody give me round 2?
No.
Yes. Round 1 is solid. Yeah.
Okay, thankfully, we solved it on the second go-round. I would like to congratulate Mary Winnick in being reappointed to the Planning Commission. I appreciate you. Congratulations and condolences to you. Congratulations and condolences to everyone else. I hope to see most of y'all applying for other positions in the future. Thank you for coming out. If you're a glutton for punishment, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the council meeting. Don't be afraid to run out, though. No one would blame you. We're going to move on to the Board of Sign Appeals as the next item. Also, I'll go ahead and convene the Board of Sign Appeals. Y'all have received a copy of that appeal. Briefly, I would ask Mr. Grummer to come down, and if you could just give the Cliff Notes version as to the reason the sign was denied.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. They have a request because of the unique nature of this lot being a double frontage lot. There's a frontage on White Oak Crossing and frontage on Country Club Parkway. Our ordinance only allows for one monument side per lot. They're requesting monument signs on both roads. This is a unique situation. Staff recommends approval of this. Now, I will state that the map in your packet was slightly incorrect. I did, looking at it, there was apparently an updated map, and I emailed that. It may, just moments ago. It may be too late to show that up on the screen, but I can clarify where the locations of where those monuments are if you need me to on the map.
We'll see if there's any questions about that. We do have a representative applicant here as well. Did you have anything to say, or just available if there's questions, comments? Just available for questions. Available if there's questions, comments. I'll go ahead and open the floor for discussion. Councilmember Gardner.
Mr. Grimmer, you explained this quite well. I mean, I think I get the point of the ordinance. If you've got a lot, you're not gonna have a business that's gonna have two monuments because they're usually on one street. But you're gonna have two completely different entrances here that will be used probably by two completely different, people coming from the different directions of Maumelle. Can you show us on that map, you said that
Sure.
Those were not correct, or this is correct, this version?
If you want to, what's that?
We'll go to the first one?
No, go to this one, just get it to where you can see the whole.
You center it. Just scroll back down a little bit, just a touch.
Show the whole site.
There you go, perfect.
So they indicated right here for this one, but actually it's supposed to point to right here with that oncoming traffic set off of the roadway. So this was the one. And then this one is one that I believe they're already approved for. So it's not, it should have had a red arrow going from sign A to this point right here. And that's for capturing traffic that's coming this way along White Oak and coming out of the roundabout. So it has a view shed into the bank.
Okay. Thank y'all for your comments on this. I mean, I think this is a very unique situation. I don't think our ordinance was written for a lot like this, where you've got two main entrances that will both receive a lot of traffic. So I appreciate y'all's input. Thank you.
Councilmember Tierney.
Yeah, I agree with Councilmember Gardner that this is a unique situation with a lot straddling two roads, and I appreciate the good explanation Director Grummer has given us, and sharing that the staff does recommend that we approve it. I concur with them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to, is there a particular language we need? Just grant the sign, overturn the.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Approve, okay.
Approve the sign variance?
Approve the sign variance. Okay, motion to approve the sign variance. Did somebody second that?
Yes.
Motion is second. Any additional discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Sir, it was your excellent speech. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the Board of Sign Appeals. So goodbye, sign appellate judges. And we'll move on to Resolution 20-20, or 2025-07 regarding surplus property. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, Pulaski County, Arkansas, a resolution number 2025-07, a resolution to approve the disposal of city surplus property.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, Councilmember Tierney.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot to discuss on this, but I'd make a recommendation to approve Resolution 2025-07.
Thank you, sir. That's who I was thinking of when I referred to sir. And so just a heads up for the new council members. If you look at that last page, the property activity form in the top right, there's a fun little, a few different check boxes. Under the ordinances, property under $2,000, I can dispose of. And by dispose, I don't necessarily mean throw away. I mean sell, transfer, any of those things. Anything that has a value of $2,000 and up essentially needs the council's approval. So if we have a car that we value at $5,000 and we want to sell that car for $5,000, we have to come back to the council and get that approval. And so you will see these from time to time. I'd much rather see these than come to you to tell you about totaled vehicles. But with that, is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by Councilmember Booker.
Thank you, Mayor. I saw the values or whatever. Those values for what they're gonna sell for come from like?
They're their best estimated value on what that is. I take a look at it, and if something just jumps off the page as being weird, I'll go into it. But by and large, my take is that they're just estimating what that value
Like
is.
Kelly Blue Book or something like that, maybe.
Probably not Kelly Blue Book, but maybe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. The police department vehicles don't, yeah. Not vehicles that I would want to purchase used. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving resolution 2025-07 signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. That brings us to resolution 2025-08 regarding surplus property. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, Pulaski County, Arkansas, resolution number 2025-07, a resolution to approve the disposal of city surplus property.
This, I believe, is actually supposed to be 2025-08. It looks to be the right resolution, just with the wrong number. I'd entertain a motion to change this resolution number from 2025-07 to -08. I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. This is now resolution number 2025-08. Mr. City Attorney, is that a material change that require additional reading? No, okay. So, similar situation as the last. I'll open the floor for discussion. Councilmember Tierney.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-08.
Got a motion and a second to approve that resolution. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. That brings us to resolution 2025-09, amending the street fund budget. Before we read that, I was realizing that the resolution that was included in the council packet was not the most updated version that was emailed out when a mistake was made. We rushed to email y'all the updated version, print it off, and have it here. However, I noticed an additional change. Let me tell you what the change from the council packet to what you have in front of you is. We originally had in the original resolution that Counting on Each Other had provided a $15,000 donation to purchase the vehicle. That is not the case. They provided $11,073 to get the vehicle. The change that still needs to be made is that the third whereas still has the old number. It says, whereas Counting on Each Other has provided $15,000 donation. I'd entertain a motion to change that to Counting on Each Other has provided an $11,073 donation to purchase a replacement vehicle. I've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries with that amendment. Madam City Clerk Treasurer, if you could please read Resolution 2025-09 by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled Resolution Number 2025-09, a resolution to amend the 2025 Street Fund budget.
Outstanding. Nicole, did you want to say anything or just let me fumble through it? Perfect. No need to run?
I wish that was my run, but it's getting better. I just really want to thank Counting on Each Other for their continued support for senior services. We had a wreck, no fault wreck, but a wreck, and the vehicle replacement value is $14,000. Not enough to buy a new vehicle, and very thankful that Counting on Each Other came to help us. And so we will be asking for support to purchase a new replacement vehicle, to help with seniors. Currently, we're having to turn away rides, which kills us to do. So we're very excited to be able to get this back in, get a vehicle back into service. With us, if I could just mention Rick Spignati, our chairman, and then our vice chairman, Jim Pacino, are with us in the audience.
I'm sorry, Nicole, can you repeat the first gentleman's name?
Rick Spignati?
Could you spell that?
Seriously?
I'm kidding, I'll get it.
Outstanding. Thank you. And so just to clarify the position, this actually is costing the city $0 outside of the insurance money and the gracious donation from Counting on Each Other, but still requires a budget resolution. I'll go ahead and open the floor for discussion.
Motion to approve 2025-09.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2025-09. Councilmember Williams.
Oh, I was just gonna ask Nicole, do y'all have you already have a car picked out? Do you need a car, or is it a van, or?
It's actually a small SUV. It's a Ford White Escape. And Jim actually helped me find the best deal. We found the best deal in the area, and with Jim's help, we got a little extra warranty on it. So I'm very excited about that.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry to make you come back up.
You're getting
Stay
better,
out
so.
there. I can yell.
Is that Achilles?
No, sir, I didn't want to step on a dog, so I tore 2 tendons in my foot, and it's just been a very slow healing process.
Can we get the city attorney and HR to talk to?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I just wanted to echo one of the things that Nicole said. Counting on Each Other has been a nonprofit that has worked really well with the Department of Senior Services for an extended period of time, and we are grateful for their help. There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't be occurring at the Center on the Lake if it wasn't for Counting on Each Other. So thank you to y'all. I was devastated to see that the damage that y'all received at your shop. I was walking around down there, and that looks like quite the situation. For those that don't know, of course, a lot of y'all know that Counting on Each Other has their, would you call it a resale store. During the freeze, some of the pipes burst and turned it into a lake. Basically, it was a lot of damage and a lot of work that's out there. So. But anyways, thank you to y'all. That concludes new business. and all business. Really quickly, under mayor's comments, I had the Carnahan and Champs, that I was gonna bring up. Gateway Park, that, groundbreaking or demolition party, I'm not sure what it is, was really, good. I think we had all 8 council members at a groundbreaking for the first time in a long time. So thank you for supporting that project. I hope you got a good look at that building because it's gone. That building is not there. It's a pile of rubbish. They started the demolition today and finished it today. There will be some, I believe they finished it today. I didn't go out to make sure, but they look like they were gonna finish today. And then the site will be cleaned up, and that'll take a little bit longer. But I encourage you, if you haven't seen it, go by. If you've seen that building there for ages, it's not there anymore. It looks the same. So we'll move on to, I put a little letter in the back of the council packet under FYI. Take a look at that. If you have any questions, feel free to holler at me. That concludes mayor comments, council member comments. Council member Tierney.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a request for some people who are asking about where they can find better images online about the proposed changes being made to Club Manor.
I believe we were responding to an email right as we were walking in here with a link to that. It should be on the website. If it's not, we'll get it put back up there. Just the images are not final engineering, right? And so oftentimes when people want really good images, it's because they want to look at a particular detail. Not always, but often. Those particular details are subject to change through the engineering of that. And those plans are, we're at 100% submittal, not 100% approved at this point in time. So just, I believe we responded to the person that emailed you.
Okay.
And we'll make sure it's online.
All right, good deal. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes, I have a little bit of a shameless plug, just for, I need everybody to tune in Sunday night to American Idol, because my niece is a contestant so yes, her name is Clara, so I'm gonna be asking for some votes.
So are we talking a watch party or what?
We need to have a watch party. We need to have it up here.
Councilmember Gronwald.
So I have a comment and a question. I'll start with a comment. So there are some of us who are attending the National League Congressional blah, blah, blah conference on next week. So I just wanted to make all of you aware. Some of you attended in 2023. We often try to go every other year. But I'm very, very excited to be joined by the 2 newest council members, and Ms. Timmons and Mr. Mayor Norris. So I'm excited about that. My question is this. This has come up a couple of times. It came up on social media recently, also with questions about Gateway Park. Councilmember Gardner answered it well, but both of us weren't sure of the most updated news on the study from RDOT for Audubon and Montpelier. I think we were going to go back to RDOT, and I don't know where we are.
So right no, we didn't go back to RDOT. What I did in partnership with Mayor Hartwick in North Little Rock is request through Metro Plan that RDOT do a corridor study. So that initial denial was based on a study from, I believe, 1981. It preceded the city's formation. And so after talking with some folks at RDOT and at Metro Plan with what we thought would be the best way to solve not just this specific issue, but also put together a plan for the corridor and make sure things are on everyone's radar and update it. So the way it worked is I requested, and Mayor Hartwick in North Little Rock requested, the Metro Plan support a corridor study. Metro Plan officially supported that corridor study and requested from RDOT that in partnership with the two jurisdictions, Little Rock and North Little Rock, in partnership with Metro Plan, and obviously in partnership with RDOT, that we do a whole new corridor study for that corridor that we think will be the best justification for that traffic signal.
I thought we had done an additional study.
We did
a year,
a
2 years ago, somewhere.
Yes, ma'am. We did a traffic signal
Right.
study,
Okay.
and that intersection warranted a traffic signal under RDOT's guidelines for like looking at that specific intersection. RDOT looked at that and said, we agree that intersection warrants a traffic signal, and then they erroneously referred to an improper old corridor study to make their argument that when you look at that corridor itself, it shouldn't have a traffic signal.
So what do we think the timeline is then? If you, I mean, best guess. I know they're on their own timeline.
I would ask you your best guess, and yours would be equally likely to be accurate as mine. I have no idea. I've not done one of these. They haven't requested one of these be done. At this point in time, RDOT has not approved a corridor study, and then I have no idea how long a corridor study takes.
Okay, so it hasn't even been approved yet, much less started.
It's been approved through Metro Plan, but not RDOT.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it's in, I'm gonna mess up the acronyms, STIP? The STIP, I think, which is the state, I'm getting a head nod from Scott, so I got it right. The State Transportation something or other program, or whatever. The Traffic Improvement Program, I don't know. So it's been approved in that, but not that specific project.
Thank you.
I'm butchering that a little bit. Any additional council member comments? Councilmember Booker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I had a question come up about the, there on South Odom, right there by, Walgreens, that the traffic backs up, you know, in that left, in the turning lane, when you're turning left over there, to extending it, you know, back, I guess that'd be south.
You're talking about if you're heading northbound on 100 and you're turning left
That's
onto
correct.
Odom South.
That's correct. Someone asked about, you know, cause I even had that problem a couple of times myself coming in there. You know, if it backs all the way up, people are actually in there.
Yes, it does, and it has for a while, and it's especially dangerous for those folks that are heading northbound and not turning left, because you don't, they tend to travel at speed and not know when that's one of the things that will be addressed in the traffic corridor study. There was a few other issues that helped us determine that was the reason, the best way to go about that. Now, as far as light timings, we have some ability to change things. Some of y'all have brought up the flashing yellow indicator. Those are in queue with Inline Construction, who is our company that does all the work that we can't do on the traffic signals. And we've been told that won't need RDOT approval. I mentioned that may be the case. It's in their queue of things to get to. I don't remember everything Mike Hogan said during his talk because I was frantically trying to get that resolution updated and sent off. But I think he told you or mentioned or was going to mention Inline is also the one that's handling our streetlights that are owned by the city. That includes some of the outages that we have on White Oak Crossing. We've got those in queue to be fixed, or we just got the invoices for that. That's $10,000. And then on Odom South, that string of lights that have been out for a while, we had thought something got nicked. We can't figure it out. No one can figure out. So we can't point fingers at any of the boring crews. He did mention this a little bit. We think it was just the cable being exposed. Inline's handling that. And for those on the north side of town on Odom North, in between Pin Oak and Woodland, there's a string of multiple different lights on both sides that are out, and that is in Inline's queue to be assessed, but not worked on. Fun fact, I don't know if y'all have noticed this. I've been, Desi, cover your ears for a second. I've been one of the first ones to complain about Entergy when I think that that was right. They have really been doing a really good job with the street lights. We've, I think, finally got to the point where they're being repaired at a much quicker pace. We've sat down with folks over there, and they now have people proactively, I think it's only once a month or once every couple weeks, driving Maumelle Boulevard and I believe Country Club Parkway to just ensure that there are no lights out, and if a light is out, actually working on it and getting it in the system themselves so we're not even having to report things. So you should notice lights are a lot better on Maumelle Boulevard in particular, but also we're seeing a faster turnaround, and that has been a long effort. And there's a lot of people. I could spend the rest of the night thanking different people that have worked on that. Yes, we're good. Okay, Councilmember Tierney.
Yes, I'm glad you talked about the lights and all the different things on Maumelle Boulevard. One complaint I get from non-residents when they come to visit Maumelle all the time at night is how hard it is to go down Maumelle Boulevard and try to read the street signs. They're always asking, can you guys do anything where you can get better street? Because they have a hard time figuring out where to turn because sometimes they're difficult to read at night off the boulevard.
Okay, I'll pass that on to Mike, who's still here. Thank you, sir. You got that?
Yeah, so some of these signs, they get faded out over time. It's something we can check and maybe spruce up. If you notice on the boulevard, RDOT has their green signs up there. Refreshing my memory, Mayor, at one time, we were gonna change that out. I can't remember the details on it, if we had to go ahead.
I remember it was so frustrating, I said, just go Ninja, replace it at night, because we couldn't get approval to put up a new sign. So.
Right, so I'm kind of reluctant of
I didn't say
messing with
that,
any
this
of
is
their
not being recorded or streamed, so.
So, yeah, we can spruce up our signs for sure, and you know.
For the
I
RDOT
can
signs, we can pass it on to them. So our
Yeah.
signs, yeah, I'll show you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Booker?
Okay, Mike, Mr. Mike, other question, it was double red, the double red lights or whatever at the corner?
Millwood?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was double red lights that we couldn't fix. So often, go on.
We had to do an emergency ticket on that to get in line out. Our guys couldn't figure out what was going on, so, and I don't know the fix on that or the results of what it was, but I'm just glad they got it fixed as quick as they did.
Okay. Because inline does those, and I was afraid it might not be. But yeah, we saw it was double, not red blinking, for those that don't know. Both of the lights were just red. And that's not, I think it's a fail-safe feature with the lights, that like, worst case scenario, they just double red, and they'd rather people not going than go, but it took us a while to even get it blinking red, based on my conversation with Keith. Any additional council member comments? City attorney comments?
Just to apprise the council, city was named in a quiet title action. This concerns property that was taken by eminent domain some years ago. The plaintiffs aren't trying, this is land that straddles White Oak Crossing, up by the third interchange. The plaintiffs aren't trying to undo the eminent domain, so it's not entirely clear to me why we're named at all. But we and North Little Rock and some others are named in the lawsuit, but I'll give the council a better update when I know more.
Thank you, sir. City clerk comments?
I don't really have any comments, but I would like everyone to take a moment to read the proclamation that I have on the board. It wasn't included in the packet. It will be on our website. It was listed in our packet, but it's just acknowledging Arkansas Single Family Parent Scholarship Fund. And so I just wanted you guys to make sure you took a gander. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any additional comments? If there's nothing further, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries, we are adjourned.
Jess, you gotta be quick.